Cool. All right. So let's start with this CV. What kind of roles would you be applying for? I mean, it says here junior web developer. Is that kind of the thing that you're looking for, junior web developer?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
first job. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's good to know because then, like, for every job that you apply for, right, your CV has got to be tailored for every job. It's like, you create your base one, and it's not that you just use that one to apply for like 70, 80 positions. That one has to be tailored for every specific job. I mean, if there's like, 10 junior web developer jobs and they're all pretty much the same, it's going to require a light touch, right? It might be something specific you might want to change, that maybe they're looking for a specific tech stack or a specific framework that you don't mention in your CV, but you have experience somewhere. Even a light touch, you can just drop it into a role. So with your CV, even though you come up with one base one, you always have to customize it for every role that you apply for. And that's one of the, one thing that a lot of people don't know. And they just use that one CV and then just ping it, regardless of what they're applying for, whether it's Java developer jobs, Python jobs, with junior web developer jobs, they just ping it for the same thing. So it's good, always good to know what you're applying for, and then you can customize your CV. So first impressions on this layout, although it looks nice, it's really, it makes me think, it makes me work, right? And when I have, let's say I've got 20 CVs to go through in 30 minutes for when I'm hiring a couple of developers, it doesn't leave me a lot of time to actually just sit and look at people's CVs. So I need to be able to skim them really quickly. And in this format, yeah, I can see things, but it's just kind of like, it's not the standard format that I would look for, right? And also what happens, as you're probably aware now, is that when you send this CV over to a recruiter, what they will do is put it through a system, right? And that strips out everything about you, right? And then just leaves the content. And the reason why they do that is they don't want me as an employee getting in touch with you directly and bypassing them, even though they've given me your details. It would be ethically wrong of me to do that anyway, but some companies do that. They don't want to pay the recruiter fee. So the fact that, you've got your personal contact details in here, when I see this CV from a recruiter, it'll be stripped out. Everything will be gone, and it will just be left with content. And because they do that, this layout and this format you've got will be completely destroyed. So I don't know how this might look when it comes over to me at the end. So it could all be a big mess. So what I would do is just completely strip it out, strip all this out, keep it to like one column. And how you would do that. So all this stuff on the right-hand side, you would just remove that column. And what you could do is where you've got your dates for your employment history, August, March, August, May, you have that, at the beginning, then you would tab and then just put your title, like your job role in your company after that, and then hardline return, and then write the description and everything else underneath, and go all the way from margin to margin. So that's like, a block, right? That's how you could do it. So I would completely strip that out, and let's start at the top there. Like when you strip that out, the details that you don't need to put an image in, and you definitely don't need to put like your title up here. You don't need to do that. Location, like I don't need to know your location. It's kind of assumed that if you're applying for a job, that you know the rules of the country. So like if you're in Sweden, it's implied that you know that you are already capable of and eligible for working in Sweden. So, really you don't need that. And if I'm really interested in this CV, first thing I'm going to ask you is, are you, can you work in Sweden? Are we all good there? Do you need a visa or anything like that? Because a lot of the time companies don't like to sponsor people for visas and things. It's just a massive amount of hassle that they don't want to do. Unless you're like Google and you want like a CEO, then you're going to do that kind of thing. But companies generally don't like to do that. But if that information is missing on your CV, then first thing, and I like your CV, and you've got all the skills I'm looking for, that's one of the first questions I'm going to ask you. So you don't actually need to put it on here. Yeah, put your email address on, put your mobile number on. It may get stripped out, it may not, but it's just maybe just good to have on there so you can get in contact, and you've got them on the right hand side, so you can just pull one and put it on. So if you're applying for jobs in Sweden, just use your Sweden one, and straight off the bat, that's an indicator that yeah, he's in Sweden, so it's all good. And then your profile. Now, profile section would come next. So when I used to look at CVs, I barely ever read profiles. To me, it's like, it's your opinion of yourself. It's like quite a lot of times, and this is going to sound fairly blunt and quite rude, but it's quite inflated. What you think of yourself is going to be different from what I think of your skills, right? So, I would say remove it. Now I'm going to caveat it. I know what I just said is remove it, but if you don't have enough employment history and education to fill 2 sheets, right, and you've got a big gap, then put it in. Just use it to fill the gap. So at least give yourself 2 pages, right? So I would say don't go more than 2 pages. Or 2 sheets. Don't do more than that. Just keep it to 2. But also on don't go 1 page. Like, give it yourself to have 2 pages, and it's fine. Like, if you have profile, employment history, and then education spread over 2 pages, that's perfect. That's just go with that. But if you've got enough for 2 pages and you're in a tight squeeze, remove profile. Like, people won't read it. So then you get into employment history. So this looks good. So once you formatted this correctly, your dates, your job title, and then a description. Like the fact that you've got achievements on there, that's cool. So you really have to tell a story here in what you've done, and I think you've broken it down. So this is really good. Yeah, design frameworks. So what I would also do here as well is, especially if you're applying for web developer roles, right? Talk about the types of people that you've worked in within the projects that you've done, because part of being a web developer, it's not just you on your own, it's you in a team of people. So you're often going to be working with a designer, you're often going to be working with a UX person, a project manager, right? There are 3 key people, and then a developer. It takes those 4 to build a website. Sometimes in a smaller company, you might have a designer who does the UX, but there'll also be somebody managing the project. It might be someone quite senior and a developer, right? So at least 3 or 4 people. So always mention the fact that you've worked with a designer to collaborate on the visuals. So if there are any problems with the designs, you work with a designer to kind of iron out things and get them to give you the assets that you need. And you also worked with a project manager to do things like estimations and planning, because every day as part of your role as a job developer, you have to give updates and you have to give a status on where you're at, what problems you're at, right? So, you're just trying to pick out those details of your day-to-day that you might not think are necessary, but they're actually present a story about you and your day-to-day, about what you can do. So the fact that you can communicate with project managers, you can work with designers, is really good, and you just got to show it, right? So just think about people that you work with day-to-day and weave that story in. So that's really cool. You got a link in there to some work, that's cool. I would just say the same thing again here. So if there's any links to any works, I know this is network rail, it might not be applicable, but that's okay. Education, so I can come back to that. And then you've got personal projects down here. Now, what I would say is, instead of having a section of personal projects, put those at the top here in your employment history, in your experience, right? Because these are your own, this is a charity, right? And you co-founded it, and that's not a simple thing to do. So there's a process and it's ongoing. So it's a real thing, right? It's not just a project, it's an actual real, could say a business, right? Charities do have to be a business at some point as well. So move that up into your current experience. And then you say, so you've got a website. Did you build the website?
Yes.
Yeah. So dig
That's from
into
scratch myself.
Aha. So I would dig into that, right? And say, I built, as part of the responsibilities that I have, I built the website and here's the stack I used, So for each of the projects, you always want to mention the stack. Now you do that because even though you're producing a really short, sharp CV, you still want to get those keywords in there so that the recruiters always use like this keyword tool to pick all the CVs, right? When they've got millions, they're going to type in React and then pick all the 1,000 CVs that they're going to have that match React because they've got React in the CV. And then they're going to go filter through those and see who's available and get on the phone with them. So you've got to put in your stack here to make sure that you come up in those searches. So just add those and what you did here. Key responsibilities. Yeah, and I will build out a bit more on the website management because you are going for a web developer job, right? So think about the kind of things that you'll be doing as a junior web dev, like building out, websites, getting requirements, and I'll just literally put those in. The best way of doing that, best tip I have is to figure out what people might want is go look for junior web developer roles and have a look at some of the requirements that they want, right? So they'll say being able to deploy code, like being able to create pixel perfect layouts. So you're just looking for the terms that they use. So what you do, you take those terms and then you write them in your description. So I was responsible for creating pixel perfect layouts of the design that I got from from a design company that we engaged on the project, or a designer that I worked with, right? I set up the deployment pipeline from Git to Amazon, EC2, the hosting infrastructure that I set up, right? So you're looking for those key keywords that they use in the job descriptions, and you just drop them in here because the things that you've done, but you at this point you don't talk that way, right? So like you would say, yeah, I pushed my website to Bitbucket and then got it onto Amazon, right? But that's not what they're using. So you want that same terminology. So try and get that terminology from those job descriptions. And then, move both of those up. And again, you've built your own website here. So again, go through that, like explain the stack that you used, and just list them all here. So built the website using, X, Y, and Z. Cool. Then I see this section, testimonials. I would get rid of this section. Totally, just get rid of it. If you want to, maybe put them on your own website so that when people are going onto your website, you've got some videos about you there because your website is about you. That's an appropriate place to put it. But on testimonials, like I'll probably click on one to see what it is and just see someone talking about you, and I'll be like, right, all right, done.
Is there a reason why it's not a good idea to put video testimonials on a CV? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, some people have taken the time out to give this person you might want to interview a video testimonial. It's not common. But for you,
Yeah,
it's like a very hard line. No, is there a reason?
yeah, it's just like one, it's not really, without watching it, I can't really say, sorry, can't really say whether it's related to you as a web developer or not. If it's related to you and how amazing you are as a person and all that kind of stuff, that's cool, right? That's good. But it's not specifically related to what skills you have and what you can do as a junior web developer and what you might bring to the business. It's like, yes,
Makes
you've got
sense.
what you can bring to the business. I know is that you do a charity, right? You run a charity, you're doing a lot of amazing work. That's actually really good, right? But I wouldn't have a testimonial on it. Like literally just put it on your own website. Companies really do love having people in their businesses that they employ who have something, a passion project, like a charity is a bit far, but it's pretty cool. It's like they will then get behind you as a thing, as a company, and they'll literally support you and say, hey, yeah, we support Ayo and this charity. This is really cool. This is what we're behind, because it gives them something to be responsible for and responsible about as well. It looks good on them as well. So the fact that you've done it is really good. So put it up in your, in your experience section, But I would take that. Maybe I would take it out of the CV, and I would probably put it more on your own personal website, because your personal website talks about you. So at this point, if I'm going through and I can see the skills and I'm going, yep, skills, good, good, good. This looks really good. Let me check out the website. And then I get to the website, and then you've got these testimonials about you. And I'm like, okay, now it's just adding to it. You know what I mean? It's like another layer. It's like, yeah, this guy's good. He's doing some really good stuff. People are saying good stuff about him. Plus the fact that you've got a website. So I love portfolios. It just shows me that, proves to me that, you know, you'd like building your website, you're keeping it up to date. I'm looking at the code as well that you're writing on your website as well. I'm looking at that and evaluating you, but the content there as well. It's like, okay, cool. We write blogs. And again, the reason why I like blogs is because businesses, when they employ you, they want to do PR, right? And a lot of them want to do tech PR as well, like write about the latest iPhone or something. And they'll come across you and say, Ayo, can you write about the latest iPhone? Right. And because you've got a blog, they'll be like, yeah, you know, we know you like writing. Can you do it? And you'll probably want to take it on. Right. So, you know, you're like a vehicle for them, because you've got a blog. It's like, yeah, this guy's used to blogging. Cool. We can get him to blog and help him with his own, you know, PR. And then he can also help us with our PR as well. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah. So that would be all my feedback on this one. So change the format up, like get rid of all this. Like people don't like looking at skills and how you rank yourself in your skill. That's like we'll determine that. And kind of give you a rating. It's
Just true.
cool. And then, you know, hobbies, like I would say, if you know, it's like one of those ones where if you don't have enough space to fill 2 pages, put your hobbies in at the end. That's, you know, it's cool. It's just like something to, you know, for us to get to know you a little bit, but only if you've got nothing to put in at the end. Always make it 2 pages. Don't just think I've got nothing, I'll just make it a 1 page. Make it 2 pages, and then if you're really short, put your profile in, put your hobbies in, and then leave it at that. Make it nice and clean. Languages, don't really need to do that. I'll probably ask you if we need to, but the fact that you've done your English language in English proves to me that you can speak English. And you know, you're in Sweden, so you probably got some kind of grasp of Swedish. Again, we can ask you that on the phone. So, you know, you don't need to give us your life history on a CV. You got to leave it kind of a little bit gray so that somebody wants to call you, you know. So I would leave those details out. Yeah, that's the feedback on that version.
That's great. I learned a lot.
Cool. So what you would then do is obviously go away, update that, and then we can catch up on another call, right?